Matt Curtin, president of NFL Players Inc. Thanks for being here with us today.
Thanks for having me.
For those who don't understand fully kind of what this business does, I'm curious to kind of give a quick overview and explain how it works and kind of what you're doing for players.
Yeah, exactly. So the NFL Players Association is a not-for-profit entity regulated under labor law that exists to do collective bargaining on behalf of our players.
Yeah.
NFL Players Inc., which I run, is the for-profit subsidiary that monetizes group licensing opportunities for players and helps them earn revenue and provide opportunities for them off the field. Our main categories are jersey sales, video games, trading cards, and group commercial rights. And so what we think about is, it's not difficult for Patrick Mahomes to go do a bilateral promotional deal with State Farm. But if you want to do a trading card with all NFL players in the set, or you want to have a Madden video game where everyone is on the roster is part of the game, it's much easier and more efficient to transact with us as the union to organize that. And then we use the money that we make. We return about 60% of our revenue directly to players. And we use about 40% to run the benefits that we provide to them during their careers and after.
So how are these deals generally structured? Like you mentioned like a brand like EA Sports comes to you and negotiates the license to use the players in the game. How are those types of things structured? What are the nuances there? How does that work overall?
Sure. Look, what I would say is most of the deals are exclusive, right? There's exclusive arrangements in most categories. And it's a very established, stable market. So a lot of things are renewals. There's not a ton of, we are changing our trading card partner from Panini to Topps this year. But we've been renewing with EA since back in '94 when we began, being part of the Madden Action Sim game. And they're our exclusive partner in that category. And at least in the near term, I don't really see that changing. We've got a great partnership, and I think it makes sense for both sides for us to continue on ways that work for us.
How has the average kind of amount that goes to each player evolved over the years, and kind of how's that growing? Like, what's the trajectory look like?
Sure. Look, at NFL Players Inc., our total revenue, we've grown at a 9% CAGR for the last 10 years. That's in excess of the league's growth, right? I think one of the things we think is that that's driven by the increasing value of the player's IP relative to the league's IP. Now, we want the pie to grow for everybody, right? But we think in this market, Travis Hunter has more Instagram followers than the Jacksonville Jaguars do. Right? That was not the case 10 years ago, right? And so when we think about our products, we think that the player-centric and the individual nature of what the fan is trying to connect with in a more authentic way is driving an increasing share of the consumer spend into player product versus team product. But everything's growing. And for us, we have a mix of what we call premium royalties. So if you're a member of our union and your jersey sells, most of the revenue from that goes directly to you, the individual. And then we have what we call group royalties, which are things like everybody's in the Madden game and everybody's part of the trading card program gets an equal share of the money that we generate from those programs. And then individual stars will get the deals they get to promote them, right? So it's been a good system for us, and it's been the way that's been run long before I got here.
What did it look like before the for-profit arm existed? Was this more like kind of a Wild West type scenario, or kind of what was the business need that you effectively solved there?
Look, I think before group licensing came into play, and it started in Major League Baseball. Marvin Miller was the guy who had the innovation as part of the Major League Baseball Players Association. Before we moved that way, the unions were funded by dues. Right? And that was how the players signed up their dues. There wasn't really a concept of group player rights. And so if you wanted to do a deal, a trading card set, you wouldn't get every player, you'd get 100. And you would go out and you would try and cut deals with each of them. And it's very difficult for the partners and inefficient for the players.
How has player marketing evolved? Obviously, if you go back 10, 20, 30 years, you get some more traditional endorsements, but now today things are very bespoke. It's kind of on a more micro level. How has that changed, and kind of how has that fit into your overall strategy?
A lot. I mean, I'd say a couple things, right? The individual is a much bigger deal in society in general, right? These guys have a platform and a microphone to showcase their own personalities, their own interests. And I think in the marketing environment that we're in, the consumer's craving authenticity, right? They don't want someone who doesn't use the product to sum up and give a commercial about it and then walk away. And I think in this new media environment, and for our players, having an authentic use case, passion, investment in the product is more important than ever. And we spend a lot of time there's 42 official partners of the NFL. We work with them to use players in their marketing campaigns. And a big part of it is not just about maybe the brand or notoriety of the player, but is the player actually a good fit? And we're trying not to be as transactional oriented as we've been in the past. We want to be more relationship forward, longer term, long standing, deeper relationships. That's something that I'm focused on and my team is as well. And so I think for us, we view the life cycle of a player as going well beyond their playing day.
Yeah.
And we think about hopefully their relationships with these brands and partners as following them as they become former players and they move out of their active days as a revenue stream and another source of income.
What's kind of a use case of kind of that scenario, those deals that you're describing there? Is there, not to put you on the spot,
no,
but
of course.
Is there an example you can give me?
We'll take Tom Brady,
yeah.
right? So Tom was a big part of our union, obviously one greatest player of all time, right? And he, as a player, participated in our group licensing program, sold jerseys through Fanatics, participated in EA, was the cover athlete at one time or another, probably multiple times. I don't have the facts in front of me.
Yeah.
But as Tom has retired, his relationships with Fanatics and with EA are way more robust than they were today, right?
Yeah.
So, EA contracts with Tom directly so that my son can play with Tom Brady when he plays the Madden game, right? He's still part of the game, even though he's no longer a member of our union. And with Topps and Fanatics, Michael and the team have done a great job of keeping Tom engaged. And so that to me is a good case study. Tom's obviously unique, but we've got the same thing with other players and other brands and other partnerships. Joe Montana with Guinness is another great one.
Well, what's kind of the playbook when a player does phase out of the union? Are you still working with them in some capacity? Are you, kind of completely separated church and state at this point? How does that look?
Yeah, it's great. So when a player is no longer a member of our union, they're no longer part of our group licensing program.
Yeah.
But we still, as a union, want to service our players from the moment they enter the league to, when they're no longer, walking around this earth, right?
Yeah.
And so we do a lot for them. And on the partnership side, it's very additive, right?
Yeah.
Active players have a window during time when they can do appearances, when they can shoot commercials, when they can do things. Former players have a lot more flexibility, right? So it's not like we have to really pick and choose. And look, fortunately, our partners have a view of kind of what they're looking for, age demographic.
Yeah.
Certain local markets, people are bigger than they are in others. So we think about those things and work with them to optimize who the right person is, and it could be a former player, and a lot of times it is.
In the age of the athlete investor, players are looking at deals a lot differently. They're taking more equity, they're trying to be involved in that way. To what effect are you steering guys towards those types of opportunities, whether it's actually setting up deals or kind of providing guidance or information or resources? What does that look in terms of equity opportunities?
Talking my language. So this is a big part of what I came here to work on.
Yeah.
The union has done a good job, and we're trying to do a better job of thinking about using our assets beyond group licensing.
Yeah.
And one area in particular that we've had some success and we're hoping to have a lot more is with making direct investment.
Yeah.
Right. Unlike we're not a financial investor, right? I don't have $1 billion or even a $50 million fund that I can put into a company.
Yeah.
And we're not really a strategic investor. We're kind of somewhere in between. There's value though to partnering with NFL players. There's value in today's cultural moment, right? To have access to players and to say that the NFLPA is on your cap table. It's cool, right?
Yeah.
And so we try to think about unique and creative ways that we can partner with lots of different companies. We have 22 in our portfolio right now.
Yeah.
And they're mostly across 3 sectors: consumer retail. Consumer facing is what we do with our group licensing stuff. Health and safety, because that's important to our membership.
Yeah.
And then the wearable health tech. What most successful for us has been our investment in Whoop, which has been a fantastic return and a great long-standing partnership.
So if the for-profit arm invests in something, the players, how do they participate individually? Is that kind of just like a similar group licensing thing where they all have a share in it? Or okay.
We share it at the end of the year as an equal share. I think as we evolve it, that's what we've done historically.
Yeah.
We're starting to think about, okay, well, should we have a cohort, right, where we invest at a certain period of time and the players who were around when we did that, should we use the money for union activities?
Yeah.
Right? Every decision is player made. This union is player led ultimately, although we work hard for them every day. And so that's something we'll be working with them to sort out as we really try and scale this up.
We're here at Radio Row at the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl has become more than just a game. There's a lot going on during the week. What do you guys do this week? Are you able to kind of create connections for players? Do you find opportunities? Do you create deals? How do you steer the players during a week like this?
Our whole team is here, right, which is great. It's good for team building. It's good for us to get interactions with our players. So I love that about this week. But what we're really doing is we will manage over 300 activations. Could be a Radio Row podcast appearance. It could be an interview. Could be going to play Madden with the EA guys. But we'll manage over 300 events this week for current and former players.
Yeah.
So this is a week where not just the teams that are playing are here. Players come here because the brands and the partners are here, and an incredible amount of business is transacted. Networking occurs. and we want to be in the middle of that, and we have been, and it's exhausting, but it's why we do what we do.
How do you grow the for-profit arm going forward?
Yeah, we got to grow beyond group licensing. Group licensing is going to do well. I'm excited about our transition of our trading card business to Topps.
But you effectively, you can only control it so much.
I control it so much, right?
Yeah.
And I think ultimately, if I think about it, they're going to be GDP plus growers, but not, it's hard to take it. So we're going to do approximately $400 million of revenue this year, which is a record level for us, which is great.
Yeah.
But I think for us to take it to the next level, we have to think about other areas where we can partner and we can get our guys involved earlier, either to participate in equity, right? Or to participate in kind of hybrid type situations where there's some amount of equity, maybe there's also a group license. So those are the kind of things we're thinking about.
What are the challenges to kind of actually achieving that growth?
Sure, I think the challenge is bandwidth, right? We're a pretty lean team, right? And then also, I talked a little earlier about cohort. The average player lasts about 3 years.
Yeah.
A lot of the investments we're doing are very early stage. So the monetization of those occurs way later, right? And so
do they retain their share?
Well, that's what we're trying to sort is how we're going to sort that going forward. I think there could be a way we do it where a group license is involved, and a different way when we use just player union money to make an investment. Those are the things we're kind of thinking about and we need to optimize.
Yeah.
But ultimately, part of it is just it's going to take a while because of the nature of the type of companies that we're partnering with. We want to be at the early stage, and that's when it makes the most sense for them to partner with us. If it's a mature company, then I think it's more of a pass-through where we're going to set them up directly with players or a player to transact, and we'll help facilitate that.
Yeah. We're in a world where now institutional money is trying to flow into sports basically as much as possible.
Yep.
I mean, we see private equity in the NFL, all these different sports leagues. If you want to grow, you need money. So to what extent do you think about growing the for-profit arm by seeking an institutional partner?
I don't think we need outside capital, right? We generate a really attractive revenue stream from the group licensing rights. Now, we do need to protect those rights, which is why we spend some time focused on the college NIL space and what's going on there, and making sure through our legislative efforts and our lobbying that when a player comes to our league, they're able to give their rights for a group context to the union and to the league so that we can sell things like jerseys and trading cards. So we're working very hard to make sure that the college deals are great and we want them to make as much as they can, but they have to end right by the time they start their professional career because it's a total new set and league they're entering into.
Obviously, with group licensing being such a core principle, you're really working on these deep relationships with companies like Fanatics and now Topps, which is a subsidiary of Fanatics, also EA Sports. To what extent are you kind of, I won't say limited, but kind of bound to maintaining these relationships and really making sure that you guys are communicating as partners? Because again, you got to work with Fanatics for a long time to keep the money flowing. You got to work with EA. So
I joke with Michael Rubin and Mike Mahan. We're married.
Yeah.
Right. We're starting a 20-year deal, so we can fight and we can whatever, but we know we're going to kiss and make up, and we're going to make this awesome, and we're going to solve for the greater good and grow in the pie. And that's the mindset you kind of have to have. Look, we have a lot of concentration. There's a lot of revenue concentration inherently in this industry and what we do.
Yeah.
But that just means you have to invest in those partnerships in a much deeper, and it's just much more important. I would also say though that they're long-standing. Right, so we've been together for a long time, and the league's also part of it. Most of our licenses are dual licenses, where you're paying the league for league marks and you're paying us for player marks.
Yeah.
And so in that environment, everyone's got to kind of work together to generate as much as we can.
Does that ever create friction? Because I've seen there was a video game, I'm drawing a blank on the name, where it just had the player's license only, didn't have the league license. Yeah. Does it ever create friction when the players go out and do something that's not necessarily aligned with what the league wants to do?
I've not experienced that since I've been here. I think in general, there are things that there are T-shirts that just have the Philadelphia Eagles on it, and for some Southern fans, that's cool, right?
Yeah.
There's some products that just have Saquon Barkley on it, right? And that's cool for some people too. The most successful products are dual license.
Yeah.
But there are some areas, a small startup, video game that wants to sell on Apple Arcade or wants to do something through an app may say, look, I can't afford to pay for dual licenses. I'm going to just do it with the league, or I'm going to just do it with the players. I think anybody who's of scale typically tries to get to both, but I have a great relationship we do as a team with our counterparts at the league, and we seem to manage those conflicts pretty well.
How are you protecting against, I don't know if counterfeiting is the right word, but sometimes if Saquon has a big game and someone has a great idea, they'll put him on a shirt.
Yeah.
Or, there's all different forms of things where they'll appear in a video game under an alias or something like that. How do you protect against those kinds of situations?
We do the best we can, okay?
Yeah.
It's a major focus. Our partners are focused on it as well, so we work together, as is the league.
Yeah.
I think in general, we have, as the steward of group player rights and protectors of our players, we have an obligation, and we do go out and look to, cease and desist and prevent those things from being done.
Yeah.
And we also want to protect, a lot of our relationships are exclusive with our partners.
Yeah.
So we have an obligation where we can to protect those exclusive relationships from other people infringing on them. And we do spend a lot of time, my legal business affairs team does a great job with that.
What else do we need to know about Players Inc. that we haven't already talked about?
Players Inc. is growing, right? Players Inc. is doing cool things. Players Inc. is going to do even more cool things in the investment, tech, VC space for the benefit of our players and to grow the revenue we share with them.
Matt Curtin, thanks for being here with us today.
Thanks for having me. Great meeting you.